This works. Okay. All right.
All right.
Am I recording? Oh, it's recording. Okay. Hello. My name is Atamenwwan. I'm a doctoral student at University of North Texas in the Learning Technologies Department. And what is your name?
My name is Charles Johnson, and I'm also a UNT doctoral program.
How do you like the program so far?
I like it a lot. It's been challenging, but it's also been a really great experience so far. I'm really glad I decided to come to school here.
That's good. So what's your educational background or career background like?
Yeah, so I kind of have a weird journey in terms of education. I went to college, undergrad in New Orleans, double majored philosophy and communications at Tulane. And the thing about Tulane was that their communications department wasn't that fantastic, but their philosophy department was really fantastic. So I had a really great experience at Tulane. And then when I graduated in 2000, I graduated in May 2005. And then in August of 2005, something happened called Hurricane Katrina. Oh. And so we had an opportunity. We were always in communications and journalism and making documentary films. And so we decided to stay for the hurricane and document what was going to happen. A Category 5, which is like the biggest hurricane on the scale, was up for like a direct hit of New Orleans. So we stayed and we shot this film. And it was interesting because I didn't know what to do with anything, because literally just graduated, was a happy experience. And then all of a sudden everything was gone. All my friends literally in one day were scattered across the US. And so I didn't know what to do. And then I happened to say, okay, well, I'm going to, continue my education. And I got accepted to NYU's film school. And then it kind of all put the pieces together, and we sold the film about Katrina, and then did that, which was NYU was a great experience. I learned very fast that you didn't need to have a film degree to work in the film business. But I'm glad I did it, because I got to see the academic side, and I had some really great professors and sort of the theories of some film, which was good. And then, so after I worked in the film business for a long time, about 8 years, I decided, I kind of want to get back into academia. And so I decided that learning technology, some friends of mine were doing some cool stuff with technology and education. And so I started it at UNT, and it's been I think so far, it's probably, the experience has been probably the best educational experience I've had so far.
That's great. I have a similar background. We made a documentary about a circus town in Oklahoma, but it's not as impressive a year. So Katrina and everything. But so
that's cool.
How do you feel about technologies? You're a learning technologies major. How do you feel about technologies? Like new technologies?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm kind of, independent. It's interesting where we're at right now in terms of technology. I think that this sort of exponential growth that we're experiencing is interesting. It's hard to stay on top of everything what's going on in terms of technology and how to become efficient at it. I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for me, is like, how do I know which technology I need to use for a certain outcome? So I think it's necessary. I'm excited about it. I'm also a little fearful for it. There's a lot of nefarious activities happening with people that have some certain technologies with people. So, but I think that the end goal is to improve people's lives. And if we can really make some improvements on how people learn, I think that's what I'm excited about. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity with the technology, specifically in learning platforms. It's, some things that even 5 years ago we wouldn't have expected to see or seeing now. So I think that's really cool.
Yes, it's very interesting how technology we have today. Some technology we have today wasn't popular or didn't exist like maybe 10 years ago. Like, did we have drones 10 years ago, or was it maybe it wasn't very popular?
No.
Yeah, one of the technologies that really interests me is virtual reality, because there's so many industries using it: gaming, education, training. So, could you tell me what you know about virtual reality? Like, what's your experience?
Yeah, I'm very limited on the actual applications of VR, but I've experienced the sort of virtual reality in terms of, putting the apparatus on your face and kind of being in a distant sort of sphere, I guess, and having that avatar or whatever through that lens. I haven't really been too much into VR. I know that, for some of my colleagues that I've talked to about VR, that the technology really isn't there yet, but maybe I'm wrong. But I think that the idea and the concept of VR that will sort of take you away from the reality you're in right now and put you in a sort of a augmented reality, which is really cool. So I think there's a lot of, and again, I'm not an expert on it. I'm very limited on it, but from my experience so far, I haven't been too extremely wowed by the technology yet.
Okay.
But again, that's probably because I haven't had the opportunity to be involved in it too much.
Okay. So based on your little experience with virtual reality, if you had to choose between watching, are you into sports or musicals or anything?
Yeah, I like basketball, football.
Okay. So if you were to choose between watching a basketball game in person or watching it on television, which one would you pick?
Absolutely in person.
Okay. If you were to choose between watching a basketball game on telly or watching with virtual reality, where you can just be immersed in it's gonna feel like you're in the game, and which one would you pick?
The second one, absolutely. I think that's great, and I think that's what the really the cool aspect of this, if it works, right? I'm a pretty big critic in terms of aesthetics. Like, my craft was really, different kind of cameras and different angles and making sure that the aesthetics of film or television is there. I see the beauty in that. So I guess my critic, being a critic per se, is that if it seems like I'm in a virtual reality versus not really being there, then I would prefer to watch it on TV, where you're getting 4K right now, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can the VR duplicate that experience? Does it give me the experience
Quality.
that I'm actually there, or is it trying to emulate the experience?
Okay. So
does that make sense?
That makes sense. So it depends on how fully immersed you are, the quality of the picture and everything. Does it feel real? Or can you tell the difference? Okay.
But I will say this: I think that I'm a huge fan of music. I love going to, or when I was younger, I would go to probably 50, 60 live concerts a year, all types of music. But when you get older, I don't like being around a ton of people and waiting in line for the bathroom and for drinks or whatever. And so I've gotten into a very interesting sort of, I will stream like Lollapalooza or stream Coachella or big sort of music fest in the comfort of my own home. If I'm drinking beer or whatever, I don't have to pay $5 a beer. You know what I mean? And there's no line for the bathroom. So like I create the environment in my house. I've got I'm really particular about that. And so with the music, the speakers and the vision, and I think that would be really fun to to explore in terms of VR is actually like being there without the added stress of thousands of people.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about someone spilling beer on you or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's interesting as you get older, like I used to really love being in those kind of environments. And now I get older, I'm becoming like an old like man where I'm not even that old, but I'm like, I get frustrated at waiting in line or people taking their time. And it's very funny how that happens.
I agree with you. That's a great selling point. Actually, that's you should write this down. Okay.
But
So
here's my question though. Here's my question though. Is if we take the experience, right? Because if I look back, it just brought up a point. If I look back at all those shows that I went to and you know, I look at people now when I go to concerts and they have their phones and they're videoing it, right? And so it's kind of taken away of the art in my sense, right? You're not experiencing it because you're recording it, you know, and so it takes you kind of out of that element, which the live show is supposed to be. I'm really passionate about that. But so my question would be, if we converted this into a whole VR experience, would we lose that connection with the artist? And moreover, would we lose that connection with experiencing that art form with our peers? You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. I feel like it should only be supplemental to like supplementary. You know, if you some people don't like crowds, some people they can't make it. Maybe they for some reason they can't be at the concert. So, but they really want to try to get as much experience of the show as possible. So in that case, okay, they can use the VR. I mean, definitely the degree of connection, with the artist is going to be reduced, when you're there versus when you're not there. So I agree with you on that. I don't think VR should replace, concerts, for example. But it's not the same thing. It's never the same thing, face to face or using technology. It's never the same thing. Like I agree with you on that. So yeah, so we might lose some connection with the performer, for sure. But
You know what though? I think what's interesting is that might be the minus, right? The con of it. But the positive thing is like, for individuals that live like in small cities or different countries where maybe the band doesn't, stop or travel to, that would give everybody really a platform to view their favorite artist.
yes,
You know?
and the band can sell VR tickets too. So who knows?
Yeah.
That could be
So
something.
maybe on that side is that you get to, even though the experience might not be as valid, if you could say that about art, but maybe the experience isn't as valid as being there, but it opens up the opportunity for a lot more people to experience the art.
Definitely, it liberates. Like it doesn't keep you bound. It doesn't make you bounded by you don't have to be there to listen to music. It opens the boundaries and gives people more, give people another opportunity. So, are you a gamer at all?
Not really. No. I'm really more on the music side.
Okay, so I'm just trying to see what kind of entertainment VR could help provide. So, what are your thoughts about implementing VR to education based on your experience? How do you think that will work? Are we ready for that yet, or?
That's a good question. I think that there's a lot of opportunity, right, in terms of VR and education, and I think really specifically looking at like the medical field. There was a lot of I got really into. I worked at a nursing school for a little bit as a dean of students, and I had to really experience that you have to sort of duplicate clinical rotations, like dealing with patients in this sort of environment where, you know, in the hospital setting or whatever. But what they were doing is they were actually creating the environment from this virtual labs.
Mm.
And it wasn't VR because you still went, but it was a sort of a virtual, it's called the virtual lab. And the studies that came out from that said that there's no distinction between the virtual lab and the experience for the student in the real environment. And I thought that was really cool because you're getting the same concepts in that virtual lab that you are that simulation, really. So that the simulation and the real activity, like with real patients, the outcomes are the same, which was huge, right? A lot of people would predict that the experience would be better in a live environment with real patients, but actually the opposite was found. So I think that you have a lot of opportunity in VR, especially if you think about it like surgeons or whatever, where you can put an apparatus on and you work with really amazing sort of virtual environments. And I think that is great because you're perfecting your craft, right?
Yeah.
That's all it's about. So education, you're perfecting it and you know, doing it over and over and over again without disturbing people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Related, you know.
So I think the opportunity is there. I think I don't know if the opportunity is there for other subjects right now, but I think for sure the medical field, that's where we're going to see a lot of benefit from the VR.
Definitely. I think we need a lot of studying in other fields to see how well it will work. But yeah, that's all I have to ask you. Thank you so much for participating.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
All right.
So I'll close this out. Stop the video.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I think, okay. You know what I can do? Are you still there?
Yes.
I think I haven't used Zoom before in terms of recording, but I think it does like an MP4. You want me to email it to you?
Yeah. Oh, were you recording? I don't think I was recording.
Were you recording too?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, I recorded it.
Yeah,
so I'll
on yours.
Yeah, and I think it will output it into like an MP4 when I'm done.
Okay.
I'll just send it.
Okay, thank you. I'll just cut it or something.
All right, man.
All right, man.
How's your other courses going right now? They going good?
Oh gosh, it's there. Yeah, there's this one. We're just the one carrier in together. We have a huge paper or huge literature review this week. But
which one is that?
60/40.
Oh, Dr. Pasquini?
Gosh, yeah. It's
I heard it was tough. Is it hard?
we confuse a lot, but I mean we're getting stuff done. I'm not really happy with my score for my last assignment, so I really I need to get like as many points as possible just to I can stay on an A. And luckily she's given the blog post from now on just bonus points, so I'm gonna do all of those because but man, it's what a semester.
Yeah, I feel you, dude. I mean, but 60/40, that's a core course. So
yeah,
I feel like you have to have some of those really difficult courses to like put you in check that, hey, we're in a doctoral program. Man.
I know. Like I'm learning stuff. I'm learning a lot from the class anyway. It's like hard stuff. I wish it's hard stuff. Not hard stuff, but just there's lots of work. The cognitive load is just like I want to have time to do other stuff, But yeah, how's Dr. Kinesics class? Are you there right now?
I'm not taking his. I'm doing Dr. Baker's. She's doing like an evaluation course.
Okay.
Which is super easy, but it was super, like, I learned a lot from it. I've got a couple of things. I mean, I'm collecting data for that. It's fun. She's a really, really cool, I wouldn't say easy, but you kind of have a lot of direction to do what you want to do. Just as, you got to support what you're doing. And then I'm taking that, which is, what is it? 6260 with Dr. Ennis Cole. Have you had Dr. Ennis Cole?
No, not yet.
So these are like, I guess they're topic courses.
Okay.
But she is super awesome, but she's a tough grader, which is good because she's getting you, like I got an 8 out of a 10 on this paper and I was really upset about it, but then everybody got an 8 out of 10. And, but she's really getting you, like, making sure that you know what you're doing before you start publishing and all that stuff. So, I mean, she's really good about that. You kind of want someone that's going to tell you your mistakes and not just let you go through it.
Yeah.
Because then when you get to publications or dissertation, man, you're screwed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's beneficial. So I would recommend you taking one of her classes too, man. But it's, 9 hours always sucks. But I haven't found it that challenging yet. I mean, it's challenging, don't get me wrong, but it's okay. It's doable.
It's all about time management. I mean, I've been taking 9 hours at least I've ever taken in my life, but because I have to take full time. But just this semester is just.
Are you doing 9?
Yeah.
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 It's hard, man. All right, dude. Well, thank you so much. I'll send this to you. Have a great weekend, man.
All right, thanks. We'll talk about on Wednesday about that other stuff that where you texted me about. So we'll talk on Wednesday, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I've got it's a tough business, dude, but there's a lot of stuff you can do. So yeah, all about it, man.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
All right, dude. Take it easy.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.